What's up, guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are asking the question, is it really that hard to nail focus on a rangefinder when you're shooting at f1.4? Because I hear this a lot. I hear that, oh wow, like you're shooting with a Summilux, man, it's like how much is in focus, how much is out of focus. I've really never tested it, but I don't think it's that hard, but I'm gonna put myself to the test today. Shooting on the 35, Summilux 1.4. I'm gonna leave it at 1.4 this whole time we're here today at the pumpkin patch and just see what happens. So we're gonna calculate how many photos I take, how many actually hit focus. It's gotta be at least 50. If it's lower than 50, I'm quitting forever. All right, let's walk around the pumpkin patch and let's see how we do. And of course, I'm shooting on the Leica M11 with the 35 Summilux.
One small, one big.
Of course. It is really bright today, and I am 100% certain all of these photos are overexposed. Even though I'm shooting at 64 ISO at 1.4, I am using the mechanical shutter at 1/4000. It's probably a little overexposed, but the dynamic range of the M11 makes it usable. At least I'm believing that right now in good faith. Okay, if I was watching this video and I was watching a guy take still photos of random little objects that are not in motion, I would say, yeah, but you might be hitting focus on everything, but can you get action? Can you get people moving around? I'm gonna try to shoot my kids. That's a weird thing to say. I'm gonna try to get photos of my kids at 1.4 as they move around. So let's give it a try. I actually have to catch them and keep up with them, which makes this even more complicated. All right, it's time to go grab the wheelbarrow and grab some pumpkins to go home and carve. So I'm going to shift my focus over to the family a little more, and I'll see you guys back in the studio and we'll check out these photos. Okay guys, so we are back here in the studio and we are gonna dive into these shots and see how the focus actually turned out. It's hard to tell off the back of the little, camera LCD, but let's take a look and see if I in fact hit focus or not. All right, so I've got a handful of photos here, and we're just gonna see how I did. Now remember, I shot everything on the 35 Summilux on the M11 at f1.4. So let's start with this one. Let's take a look. Missed focus. Where did the focus actually hit? I don't even know if I even got close. Looks like maybe his hand. Nope, not a hand. So, okay, missed focus. But if you zoom out enough, it doesn't really matter. Okay, how about this one? All right, I was focused on the word black, got focus on that one. We are 50-50 now. I think I was focusing on these little pumpkins down here when I shot this one. We'll call this close, if not right. How about this one? I think I was focusing on the stem. Yeah, you know what? I'd pass for this one. I remember the Summilux is not like an incredibly sharp lens. It's got a lot of character to it. I mean, look at this thing. It looks like 3D. But yeah, I think I hit focus on that. I think it's safe to say that one is in focus. Let's keep going. When you're shooting these Leica lenses, especially like the Summilux line, you're going to have chromatic aberration. You're going to have all kinds of like character things. But I mean, it's just such a look. I think I was focusing on Jen and Amanda and my friend Shay, and it looks like I missed focus. But what did I hit focus on? Not even the dog's in focus. I don't know where the focus was, but I definitely missed focus here. And I think I was focusing on the pumpkin. So yeah, it looks like she's in focus, her hand in the pumpkin. So we'll call that one a win. Okay, I was focusing on this one pretty far away. Oh gosh, I missed big time on this one. And look at all that chromatic aberration. Again, the 35 Summilux is not known for being a perfect lens, but a lens full of character. But definitely misfocused. All right, how did I do on the guys here? Looks like, I may have been focusing on the pumpkins. I think I focused on the pumpkins. We'll call this one a hit. If I, in fact, focus on the pumpkins, don't quite remember. This one's overexposed. Let's pull it down a little bit. This is just this giant pumpkin they had over there. Yeah, I think I hit focus. I think it's just kind of a soft photo. We'll call it hit. My son called this one a cursed pumpkin. Never heard that before. Maybe that's a thing. Don't know. But definitely nailed focus on this, and that was very textured. So, I mean, I think it just has an interesting look. I remember focusing on this pumpkin here. Looks like I hit it pretty easily on this one. With rangefinder focusing, you typically focus on something and then compose. I put the parallax of the rangefinder window inside the viewfinder on the thing that I want to be in focus, and once I have that in focus, then I will compose the shot. So you can see here where the rangefinder would have set would have been like here, but I focused on the pumpkin and then tilted it up a little bit. All right, let's go to the next one here. The dogs. Looks like missed focus on these as well. Or again, it could just be that it's a little soft at that pixel peeping level. Because I mean, from right here, it looks like I hit focus, but if I pixel peep, you can definitely see that they're not quite perfectly in focus. I was focusing on this one, on the pumpkin stem. Looks like I nailed focus on that one. Here again, pumpkin stem. Looks pretty close, if not right on the money. This one I was focusing on the far pumpkins. And again, it could just be that it's soft, not necessarily that I missed focus, but I'm not going to give myself credit for this one because the flowers are more in focus than the pumpkins. On this one, I was focusing on this, and so yeah, you can see nailed focus on that. Looks good. Cella running by. This was actually pretty hard. I got close, but not quite. Looks like it's more back focus on the hay. But as she was running by, I was trying to focus as they were moving. Didn't work out as well. Here's Cella smelling a flower. And yeah, you can see, got focus on that. But the character of the 1.4 isn't super sharp. Keep it on going here. We've got Cella nice and in focus here. This one looks like a nailed focus. Here's both kids, and yeah, maybe a little soft. Look at all that chromatic aberration that's there. It's crazy. But, you know, again, when you zoom out, it's acceptable, just not clinically sharp. Missed focus here on the sign. Looks like the focus was actually over here and not on her face. How about this sign here? Yeah, it looks like I'm a little soft on this one. It may have been focused more on, yeah, it looks like maybe the front, like I front focused a little bit. Got a handful left. The flowers here, okay, not great, but again, zoomed out, looks nice. This looks okay, zoomed out. I was focusing on this section here. Looks like I was close, if not dead on. This one's a touch overexposed. Let's bring it down. I was focused on this far pumpkin. It's all right. Cella, close, if not right on the money. And again, I just want to emphasize that like the 35 Summilux, and this is true of most of the Summilux lenses, they're just not the sharpest lenses at 1.4. So we're not looking for them to be clinically sharp. But the question is, can you shoot at 1.4 and have predictable focus? And so far, I'm pretty happy with my results. I feel like there's only been a few that I've been like, ugh, I really missed that one. This flower, I would say that's on point. Touch overexposed on this one. But I was focusing on the front pumpkins. Yeah, it looks like it's acceptable. This one, I was focusing on this pumpkin here, and it looks acceptable, no problem. The tractor, the old caterpillar, I was focusing on the front half of the word, and it looks good and acceptable. Kids playing with the pumpkins. I think I was focusing on these front pumpkins here, so not great of them, but from zoomed out, doesn't really matter. The little inflatable looks nice and sharp, so that one is acceptable. The boo sign, I was focusing on the B. Looks pretty good. May have front focused a little bit, but I would say this is acceptable. And then the white pumpkin basket, I was focusing on this stem. And I would say that that's acceptable as well. So here's the thing. If I was giving myself a grade, like how many shots did I get that were actually in focus, I would probably give myself a solid B. But that said, I'm not really running around shooting at 1.4 very often. I mostly take it as low as f2. And so you might be thinking, well, if you're shooting at f2, why not just get the Summicron because it's a lot cheaper? But the 35 Summilux FLE, as well as the 50 Lux, which is a close focusing lens that I have, and I use that one often as well, they just have a character trait about them that I just absolutely love. Compared to the Summicron, which I would say is a little more clinically perfect, the Summilux line just has an interesting look at f2, at f4, at f8. I just love the look of them, so I shoot those lenses. And I think there's something to be said if you're coming off of a mirrorless system, especially one like Sony, which is, my mirrorless systems is all Sony, which has probably the industry's best autofocus for grabbing perfectly sharp autofocus. And all my lenses that I've had for Sony have always been the GM lenses, and they are just like perfectly sharp. They are flawless. It's hard to find any softness if you get focus on the Sony lenses. Whereas if you're coming to the Leica system, you might throw on these very expensive lenses and feel like almost disappointed. Like, did I really pay all this money for such a soft lens or to not ever get focus right? I think that if you're watching this video and you're asking yourself, is it easy to focus the one at 1.4 on the Summilux line? The answer is no. It's pretty hard to focus on a rangefinder. Maybe using a VisoFlex or using the back of your screen, it would be easier, but if you're talking just rangefinder, it's not super easy to nail focus every time. But the character you get, even when you're just a little off, in my opinion, is worth it. There were no photos in here that I would just completely disqualify and say, nope, not gonna work out. If you shoot the Summilux, I'd love to hear your hit rate. If I was giving myself a grade, like I said before, I'd give it a solid B, so we'll call that 80 out of 100. So maybe an 80% hit rate from this experience. And that's okay for me. I mean, I don't go out there expecting to get everything, especially shooting rangefinder and shooting the family on rangefinder. It's still very fun to shoot. It has character and it has a look that I just adore. And so I'm not planning to trade in my Summilux lenses anytime soon. And I very much plan to keep shooting at 1.4 when I need to and not be scared to shoot there. Now, as I said, I do typically tend to shoot at f2 or f4 way more often than 1.4, but it's good to know just from a blind test and going out and shooting at 1.4 and seeing what happens, it's good to know that it can be done. So drop a comment below if you shoot the Summilux. I would love to hear your hit rate. And if you're thinking about getting a lens like the Summilux, I wouldn't let the 1.4 scare you and discourage you from going all in and trying to shoot there. You're gonna get a ton of character. You might not always get focus, but not everything has to be perfect. It's art at the end of the day, and art is subjective. It's whatever you like and what you want to share with the world. So be encouraged, go out, go shoot. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and happy fall, because it's now the fall and Halloween's coming. What are you dressing up as? My family, we're gonna be the Ninja Turtles and April O'Neil. I've got to do a YouTube video about Halloween, right? So that'll come like soonish. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.